Hello, world, and welcome to Creating Light with Kelsey. I just got a quick zinger of an episode for you today of you are exactly where you're meant to be, which people fucking say that all the time. And they say it with such like hope and awe in their voice of you're exactly where you're meant to be. Like, it's so great. Like, be so grateful and joyful. And like, yeah, I hear you, but it's to a different level when you get hit with that of you're exactly where you're meant to be when you're going through it and you're like in the middle of some shit. Because that is one of the last things that you want to hear is that you're exactly where you're meant to be. You're like, this spot, this exact spot, this is where I'm meant to be. Are you sure? Are you really sure? And yeah, unfortunately, but yet fortunately, it is where you're exactly meant to be. That moment, no other time, no other place, no other situation, the here and now, whatever you're going through, this is it. You're meant to be here. Why? Figure out the why. It'll make this time period, if it's not a fun time period, go by faster. You'll collapse time and be to where you want to be, even if you don't think where you should be is where you should be right now, where you're wanting and aspiring to be. You'll fucking get there if you pause and ask the why. Like, what is this moment teaching me so I can learn the fucking lesson and move through it without bypassing anything. So I'm no longer here and I don't fall back and I don't ever come back to this moment because I didn't rush or negate or push through without fully learning. Be in it in the here and now, learn it so you don't ever have to come back. If you have beef with where you're at right now, like if you have that much beef of where you're at right now, then fucking pay attention as to why, because it's important. What's hilarious? Universe got jokes. When I was going through my divorce, I came into that knowing of not even, well, we were on the way to divorce. Right now, it was the separation moment that I'm referring back to. When we were still living together, but we had chose to separate and coming to the conclusion of divorce. I already come to that conclusion. I was just waiting for him to make up his mind. But when I was in that period of that phase of my life of still having to live with the man that I was no longer going to be living the rest of my life with, but we were still cohabitating. For the most part, I was existing in that reality and the acceptance of I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. And the more I just leaned into that wholeheartedly with all the pain that followed, I opened my eyes to be able to see the magic in every moment. And then it collapsed time because I wasn't doing this push-pull of like, I hate where I'm at. I want to be here. This is not good enough. Fuck this. Like, this fucking sucks. I want to be here. I want to be anywhere but here. When I was just like, but you're not, and own that, what I was wanting came to me faster. I like cleared the path for it to come to me. But it was like I didn't want to own, if you're in the shit and you don't want to own that part of yourself, like you're only going to go as far as your shadows and ego will let you. And if you're trying to push away something, then you're pushing it to your shadows and you ain't going to fucking go anywhere. So big roundabout. I brought that story up because what's hilarious is where I have been at existing now this last month. I was like, this sucks. I don't want to fucking be here and experiencing resistance when in comparison, it's like, oh, you silly human. You've been in quote unquote, like way worse situations. Like, yes, let's still validate your feelings that this sucks and you don't want to be here. But why are you feeling so much resistance now of like not wanting to be present and wanting to be somewhere else and not accepting that you're exactly where you're meant to be? Why can you not do that now when you could do that when you were living with a partner that was abusive in the past? Why was that okay? Why could you do that? And like, why can you not do that now? That's been my lovely why and learning moment of like, oh fuck, what is going on? Redirecting myself of like, okay, why am I here? What's the lesson? Because I'm obviously avoiding it if I'm still in fairy tale land of somewhere else instead of where my feet are. Because past Kelsey, like nearly two years ago, 2 years ago, that's wild. Okay, past Kelsey 2 years ago was dying to be where I'm at now. So check your fucking ego. Love the journey. Love every moment. And know, like, yes, we're always healing and learning and evolving, and that's what's exciting. But if this moment is not good enough for you, what is that saying? Because this moment was good enough for Kelsey 2 years ago, which we are a different Kelsey now. I get that. I get that. But come back into gratitude in all moments and radical acceptance and accountability, or you'll just stay stuck. And the moments, because it just appears to be like that a lot of times. I haven't quite cracked the code of that yet as far as humanness goes, but where shit kind of hits the fan before we demand a different and better, more expansive life. So like if you're existing in the shit hitting the fan moment, you're exactly where you're meant to be, because like you want this. You want shit to hit the fan, to move differently, to choose differently, to keep building on a different life. And you weren't ever going to fucking do it if shit didn't hit the fan. So you're exactly where you're meant to be. Now own the shit that you threw at your own fan. And I don't know how to end this metaphor, but own it and move differently so you can get out of the shitty situation and shit flying everywhere. That's how we land that metaphor. You're welcome. Analogy, whatever words. So if you're struggling and you're not where you want to be in life, pause and reflect and ask yourself why you're here. What is this moment teaching you? What do you need to feel? Where is where you want to be, and how do they act and show up, and what is missing in this now moment to get you there? All of that will collapse time and give you the lessons to get where you want to be. But it wasn't ever going to happen if you weren't in this exact moment. Own it, feel it, do the damn thing. Take aligned action from that point of really being in this, because this is still a magical time. And oftentimes like this is where we look back and we're so proud of ourselves. And moments like this when we're like, what the actual fuck? These are the make or break moments that we love when we're not in them. So if we already know that exists and we have that love and appreciation for moments as after they're gone at the hard moments, let's just fucking bring it into the now, because it's still beautiful. I will drop some journal prompts on those like questions that I kind of just spat off. I'll drop those in the show notes below to help you further reflect on this moment. But there's my zinger for you. I hope that it was helpful, because I am right there with you, my friends. When I speak to you, I'm speaking to myself, from myself, because I am also in it. Taking my own advice, showing up, giving the medicine for my own accountability, and just to like another factor of like, you're not alone, and I see you and I get it, and collectively we're all in this together and just doing the best we can. But thank you for listening, and remember, when we see the light in ourselves, we create light in others.